Hi there, my name is Chrissy Gardner. I am just coming to you to share my testimony and experience in working with the Kurt Landry prayer ministry. So I have been following Kurt Landry's ministries for a while, just getting the PowerPoints by email and watching the services online. I'm in Ohio, so I just get to see the live coverage, but it's a blessing to me. And in November of 2018, I had reached out to the ministry and asked for some prayer time. And I was really happy to find out that they provide one-on-one prayer over the phone. That was exactly what I was looking for. I was really hoping for just a personal connection. And so on November 7th, 2018, I had the privilege of talking with Patty on the phone, and I just shared my story. My husband and I, we had a business. I'm a therapist, a trained therapist here in Ohio, and we purchased a private practice, and basically within days of signing the paperwork and taking over this already existing business, it fell apart, and just was a really tough experience and just a really tough year for my family. We're going through bankruptcy now. We've lost a vehicle. We've just been struggling. So in November, I reached out, requested to have prayer time, and then Patty called me and I shared my story with her, and I was just so blessed. Within just the first even few minutes of being on the phone, she reassured me that this was not all my fault, that the enemy had an attack on me and my family, and it was just so comforting to have someone just stand in alignment with me and pray with me. And this was the first time I had been introduced to the courts of heaven and praying in the courts of heaven and just learning this whole new philosophy on prayer and Robert Henderson and his ministry. I had never heard of him or anything to do with learning about the legal system and how to pray this way, and it has changed my life, and I'm just so thankful to Patty for sharing that with me and teaching me and praying with me that day. And I just want to share with you that I've had so many blessings come from it. It really is just phenomenal. Like, I've had $6,000 worth of tax debt removed from my responsibility. I've had a court case that Patty and I we discussed and we prayed about, and during my first phone call with her, she very confidently just said, I believe this will be dismissed. And I clung to those words for several months because nothing had been happening in this court case, and it was just dragging out and dragging out. And through learning about the courts and praying, I just was learning everything I could about Robert Henderson and soaking it up and just praying every day. And in the midst of this time where it just felt like nothing was happening, I couldn't figure it out. I had so many great things happen immediately after learning about the courts of heaven. I emailed Patty again and I said, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I just felt like everything happened so fast, and then suddenly in this situation it stopped. So she was just very helpful and just reassured me, stay focused on my time with God, and it'll come together. So that was when I emailed her and asked her again about this court case and just if she had any suggestions. That was the beginning of December. And shortly after that email, in the midst of some prayer time, I just felt God say, maybe it's time to deal with your relationship with your mom. And in that time, beginning of December, I had been 7 months out on this specific court case against me, a civil case regarding my business, as well as 7 months where I hadn't spoken to my mother. We had been in a terrible fight. She accused me of some awful things right in the middle of this storm of my life where everything was falling apart. I mean, my business was failing. I owed tons of money, so much debt. My husband had a cancer scare. We lost all our income. We were just struggling to get by. No jobs were coming together. It was just the worst timing for my mother and I to get into this fight, and it left us where we were no longer speaking, no communication. So fast forward again, I'm in December, I have this thought, I need to reach out to her. And I just say to God, I say, why would I do that? It's her fault. She's responsible. But God made it very clear to me that forgiveness involves both parties, even the ones who aren't to blame in this situation. Even if I wasn't the guilty party, I needed to do my job to begin the rebuilding of the relationship. So I did. I reached out to her. I just had a simple text and just said, I don't want to be in this place any longer. Can we talk? Can we work it out? 24 hours later, I reached out to my attorney, and this time he finally responded. A week later, I was in his office signing paperwork, and the case was dismissed. And it was crazy that on that date in December, when I met him and finalized everything, he said, and now the court case will be dismissed. And those were pretty much the exact same words Patty said to me on the phone. And I'll never forget it. I just knew that God was teaching me about forgiveness and how it plays a part in having the legal actions of the enemy removed and contracts annulled and just removing that target on my back. And so I asked God to forgive me, and I asked him to help me repent and to turn away from my anger and my bitterness towards my mother and just rebuild that relationship. And now today, in January, things are much better. We're working things through. It's not perfect, but I'm in a much better place with her. And I'm just continuing on this journey. Like I said, since that date, I've had the $6,000 debt removed, cleared of my name. I've just been really blessed. I just feel like I got to share it with the world. And I remember even Patty saying on the phone, she said, you need to remember this date because this is going to be the time, something special that will change your life, and you'll remember it. And it sure has. And I'm just so grateful for this ministry, and I'm thankful to have been blessed by this experience. I hope that you are encouraged by this message and this testimony, and that you would seek their ministry for prayer or just for the messages as well. I'm sure you'll be mighty blessed. Thanks.